So the purpose of our neighborhood market would be to reinvigorate the heart of Walnut Hills with community life. And it would also serve as the node of exchange between the business district along McMillan and the cultural district to the north that Mike just described. And so to situate you, this is where the market development would take place. This is the existing Kroger. Here's McMillan and here's Gilbert. So it's at the People's Corner hub of the neighborhood. And what is existing there, you have senior housing. This is the library, the Walnut Hills Library. Kroger, like I said, and then here's the CVS. And the first, this project would happen in phases to address Kroger moving within 2 years. So the first phase would be an outdoor market shed, and then that would eventually occupy the interior of the Kroger once it moves. And we're proposing that the Kroger gets subdivided so that this street frontage here could become like outdoor cafe or specialty kind of food services to address that street front. And then this side here could address the market area with sort of outdoor dining, indoor dining at these two areas. And so essentially we're going to be subdividing the Kroger store into programmatic uses to address a more neighborhood market feel rather than the supermarket that exists now. And then these two buildings right here that are currently vacant would eventually hopefully get infilled with artists, live, work studios to correspond with the cultural district to the north and to also support sort of artistic events or exhibits on the market grounds. And so the main entrance would happen at McMillan. You're between the Kroger and the CVS, and then this rendering sort of 3D perspective is showing what that would look like. Here's CVS and the Kroger, and you enter between those, and we're hoping for some sort of gateway entrance that identifies the community, maybe something like the Finley Market entrance or Pikes Place Market in Seattle, to sort of brand the neighborhood, and then also that would have a lot of exposure along McMillan.
Where would you put it?
Conduit. Sorry?
If it's an object, where would you put it?
I was actually thinking maybe it could be at the edge of the sidewalk, between the sidewalk and the street. So it would be maybe
the curb
here.
line.
Sorry?
The curb line.
Yes, at the curb line, so that as you're walking down the sidewalk, it would almost capture you within the market already. And also another important point is that we would have these sidewalk pathways through the block to kind of subdivide it and capture pedestrians from all directions. So, like I said, the main access would be off McMillan, but then you'd also have these cross accesses that address the streets to the adjacent sides.
And for my project, I looked at the opportunity for retrofitting existing highways, specifically within the area of I-71 within our framework. I started out by looking at examples. The examples I looked at were the braided ramp proposal, which is within our framework. I looked at Curitiba, Brazil, which is an example of like taking an existing highway and replacing it with a boulevard and focusing it more on public transportation. And then I also looked at Fort Washington Way as an example of a highway with one-way roads on each side. And so from there I developed 3 concept plans to show the evolution of the highway. And the first one, in the purple, just shows the existing highway with the ramps in pink. And then the second, in the 15-year plan, it adds frontage roads, kind of similar to the idea of the braided ramp proposal. Except in this case you could have buildings fronting the highway, in which case like you start to see business development along the highway. And then finally in the 50-year plan it's multimodal boulevard concept, in which case residential starts to infill around the businesses, and where the old highway ramps used to be would be commercial development centered there, along with transit hubs, and you would see streetcar lines, and I also have a light rail line going down the center of the highway. And to show you more about like what the actual highway would look like, I have the street sections. The first one, which is existing, shows 9 lanes of traffic, and then basically a bunch of leftover space on each side. And then that goes to the frontage road concept, which keeps the 9 lanes of traffic, but there's 2 lanes of one-way traffic on each side. And then finally those frontage roads become local traffic, and you can have light rail and bus lanes along with traffic as a boulevard. And then finally I showed elevation views to show a broader section of what I'm talking about, and you can see how, like right now, there's not much going on around the highway. It's kind of a isolated space, and this would be able, this would create an opportunity for more density to cluster around the highway.
So the width of your section is the right-of-way, the existing right-of-way?
Yes.
How many feet is that?
I didn't put it on there,
From
but
one side to the other?
it's between about like 160 and 190 feet going throughout the site plan.
I forgot to introduce my
It would
cricket.
vary.